and welcome to Looking at the Markets with David Modell, TSI True Strength Index Indicator. I'm going to give you a basic overview of what it is and some ways that you might want to use it. And if you want more coaching, if you want individualized help with your trading, your investing, technical indicators, or putting together a plan for your trading or investing, because you really should have a plan if you want to be successful at this long term, you can email me for the coaching at davidmodell@gmail.com. So let's take a look at the True Strength Index, and we're going to look at the chart in a moment. But first, what is it? The True Strength Index, or TSI, is a momentum oscillator. And by oscillator, what we mean is it moves up and down within boundaries. It does not go above a certain boundary, it does not go below a certain boundary. And momentum oscillator tells you the trend, the momentum. Is it to the upside or to the downside, generally? And so it's a momentum oscillator that ranges between the limits of negative 100 on the bottom and positive 100 on the top. All right. So it oscillates between those two numbers. And the midline, or the base value, is 0. The momentum is positive when the oscillator is positive, when it's above 0. And it's negative momentum when the TSI line is below 0, or a negative number. Okay. Pretty simple. So let's take a look at that. We're going to go on tradingview.com, and here is the daily candlestick chart for Carnival, and it is CCL in case you're wondering. But you can use this on pretty much any time frame. It can tell you the momentum, whether it's daily candlesticks or 1 minute candlesticks, 2, 3, 4, 5 minute candlesticks, hourly, weekly, monthly, whatever it is. This is a pretty good indicator at telling you the overall momentum. It's not perfect. No indicator is perfect. It does not work 100% of the time. All right, so we can see that it has, first let's just look at the blue line right now. That is the TSI line. All right, and so we can see it is fairly smooth. It's not super jagged or jerky. So if you want something that's already pretty smoothed out, this can be the blue line that you can use. Okay, we're going to talk about the pink line soon. All right, and it is a pretty good gauge, the blue line, of the momentum. I mean, we can see here's the 0. Okay, here's the midline, the base, right? Okay, and then we can see, we can see positive 40 up here, negative 40 down here. But remember, it goes down to negative 100, and it could go all the way up to positive 100. All right. But we can see when the blue line is trending downward, and also when it's below 0. And look at that. So at the same time, the stock is trending downward. All right. And it's going lower. The number is going lower and lower into negative territory, and it's below 0. It's below the midline. And that's a pretty good gauge right now of the momentum, which is downward. Okay. And so what about upwards? Well, we can see it works going upwards as well. Still not above 0 here, though. Let me try to find an example of going, there it is, going above 0. Look at the blue line. It was below 0, but now going above it. And so when that happens, you can say there's a change in the momentum from negative to potentially positive. And, it worked pretty well here, because after it went above 0, went sideways for a while, but then boom, right, went upwards. And we can see that the number went higher, went above 40. All right. So, but again, here it is going down to negative 60. So again, the bounds are 100 and negative 100. Okay. So that's the blue line. That's the TSI line. What about the other line, though? Let's talk about it. There's a TSI line that was blue, and it has a signal line that was pink. We'll look at that again in a moment. And this is similar to the MACD line, which I talked about in my MACD video, so you can check that out. You can check out all my technical indicator videos on my playlist for that. Just like the MACD line and the signal line, right? Maybe you've seen those. Well, we have a TSI line, and it also has a signal line. The TSI line itself is smoothed out multiple times. All right, we saw how, even the blue line is not very jagged or jerky. All right, it's already pretty smooth. And you can adjust how smoothed out it is. All right, if you want that blue line to be even smoother, even less jerky. You can adjust that here on tradingview.com if you want to. For most beginners, you might just consider starting out simple and just keeping it on the default settings if you want to. All right. But you can also play around with the settings just to see what happens. Test it out, maybe with demo trading or something like that, where there's no real money involved. Now, the signal line, which was pink, is a smoothing out of the TSI line, which is already smoothed out. And so let's look at the signal line in pink. Yeah, you see how the signal line, the pink line, is even smoother. It's even less jerky and less volatile than the already smoothed out blue line, TSI line, right? And they use moving averages. They use averages and things like that to smooth everything out. All right, so you got your TSI line in blue, signal line in pink. At least it is right now. Your platform might have different colors and things like that. So how can you use all of this? Well, much like with stochastics and the MACD, you can use the TSI to gauge certain things like oversold. For example, you might decide that if the TSI line or the signal line, either one, but let's say the TSI line for now, the blue one. Let's say if it goes below 40, you might decide that that the stock is oversold, meaning cheap. Maybe it's a bargain even. And so you wait for it to go, let's say, below 40. It's not doing it here, but it did it here. See, it went below, or I should say below negative 40 is what I meant to say, below negative 40, right? Or overbought, like expensive. So that could be maybe wait until it goes above positive 40. Okay, and so you just wait for that to happen, and it's still negative here, so it hasn't happened here. Let me try to find an example of it going above positive 40. Here it is. Interesting. The TSI line went above 40 barely, but the signal line did not. Signal line did not catch up as quickly. Okay, and yeah, that actually turned out to be a good indicator because it formed a double top there, and then it tanked. It plummeted after that, so that worked out pretty well. But it does not work 100% of the time. It's not perfect. So you could use it for overbought, oversold. You might choose 40 and negative 40, or 50, negative 50, 30, whatever you like. You can use it for center line crossovers. Okay, so if the let's say the TSI line, the blue one, if it's if it's above 0 and then goes negative, goes below 0, that could be a sign, a signal that the momentum has changed. Maybe you want to get out of your trade, take profits. You could have taken profits when that happened here, and you would have avoided all this downside here. Okay, and maybe the opposite. If it's below, let's say it's the TSI line is below 0, then pops above it, right? And so you buy it right at that moment and then ride it up, that kind of thing. Okay, that's another possibility. These are all possibilities. So that's center line crossovers, signal line crossovers. You might see this in the MACD, where if the blue line here, if the TSI line is below but then pops above the signal line, that could be a buy signal possibly. And then a sell signal might be if the TSI line is above but then goes down below the signal line. That could be a sell signal, that kind of thing. Okay. So signal line crossovers with the TSI line and the signal line, divergences. If you've got the TSI line or the signal line, either one, going in one direction, but then the candlesticks are going in a different direction, you might think that perhaps the TSI line is telling the truth, so to speak. Maybe the candles are, not. Maybe they're trying to deceive you. Okay. On the other hand, sometimes people say, the price doesn't lie, right? So you can believe whichever one you want. But sometimes people talk about RSI divergences, and I have videos on RSI divergences where the price goes in one direction, but the RSI line goes in a different direction, that kind of thing. All right? Those are some ways to consider using it. You have to make your own decisions, but that is a basic overview of the True Strength Index. I did not go over the formula for it because it's complicated, and I don't know if you really need to know the formula. You could always look that up, of course, And I just found that you don't always need to understand every part of the formula. What you can do is try fiddling with or adjusting, testing out different settings, see how they change things, and then maybe demo trade it to see if it works better or worse for you. Okay, and finally, you want to have a plan. You don't just want to use an oscillator. You don't want to use just an indicator by itself. Probably not without an overall trading or investing plan. You can email me for that coaching at davidmodell@gmail.com. And I hope this was helpful to you. And I'm going to keep on bringing you more videos, and check out my playlist, because I have right now over 100 videos in my technical indicators playlist. I've covered almost all of them by now. All right. So thanks a lot for watching and listening, and I will talk to you again soon.